Okay, hello. Good evening. So that's a large audience, so it's gonna be a little bit nervous in the beginning. But anyway, so we are Alenta. We are coming from Spain. This presentation, lately this summer we had this heat waves from time to time, and in news, always the thing, you had to drink a lot. Duh. Okay, obvious things, but it's good to be reminded from time to time about those basic things. So this will be the drink water during a heat wave presentation. Basic things that it's good to be remembered of. So, how is this? Yeah. Okay, let's set the initial tone of the thing. When we discussed about what type of presentation to bring here, we have some, what our colleagues said, this very focused things, but sometimes it's really good to come back to those basics and remember some Zabbix 101. In Alenta, we are fans of efficiency, we are fans of Pareto, which is basically, we're convinced that 80% of the outcome, even more, is just the result of 20% of effort. This is good. So, the bottom line of this sort of introduction is that, please, let's be sophisticated only when required. We can get lost easily in those, sneaky-peeky parameters. About us, before going to the meat of what we want to tell you, is that, well, trusted partner of Zabbix, we think, more than 10 years. We have several big deployments, some of them with several thousand, hundred of hosts. Things really challenging that to scale to this type of volume, some colleagues know perfectly, it's complicated. And things that we monitor with Zabbix, just to give you an idea, retail, banking, digital media, huge global sports events or equipment are monitored by us with Zabbix. We cannot put here logos. They will charge us to put those logos. And, we structured this small presentation in 4 topics: OS and under, database, Frontend, Zabbix server, and the usual disclaimer. It works for us. It brought us to where we are. And obviously, if you know better, please share. We will be there outside for you to come. And
Give me.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're in family, aren't we? Okay.
Okay. As Roberto said, all of the things work for us. It's very important to come to the basics, and this part, the tips on operating system. It's basically, okay, I have to start a new Zabbix. I have to start a new project. And the first thing that I have to think about is, okay, where this Zabbix machine are you going to run? And what is the usual bottleneck in most of the Zabbix installations? And the usual bottleneck is the database or the drives, the input-output, because Zabbix is very intensive in these input-output operations. Okay, really basic things. Use the best hardware that you can afford. Okay, SSD, or even better, NVMe, write if it's necessary, but only for huge installations, you probably will be forced to use write and NVMe, but always use the best hardware that you can afford for that, at least for the database, because it's the usual bottleneck. Another very important thing here, very important thing here is where I'm going to put my Zabbix server, my proxies in between my network. Okay. Latency is more important than usually you could think of. Okay. Server and proxies must be placed the nearest possible to the object that you want to add to Zabbix, to any host. Please be very careful with firewalls or traffic expecting devices, but we usually have some kind of problems with some kind of one optimization firewalls or automatic traffic inspecting devices. Sometimes it's very challenging to devise these problems.
Yes, well, regarding the first part, is summing up is don't be cheap.
Yeah.
Time to tune strange parameters to obtain the best result. Sometimes it's a lot of money compared to don't be cheap with hardware.
Regarding the database, defaults are usually bad for Zabbix. If you simply start one of your favorite database, MySQL, Postgres, the default configuration, the default standards for the package, the usually official package, are quite bad. But please don't be crazy modifying a lot of parameters. Don't change everything. Most of the best improvements is only modifying one or two parameters, and the most important always is the amount of memory that you could use, that you allowed to use to this to the database. Usually, you should let the database use between 50 and 70% of the memory of the machine. It will depend if it's a dedicated machine or it's a shared machine. Okay, but very important. Do not over-configure your database. If you have problems with the database and you want to change a lot of different parameters, there is another colleagues here in Zabbix that made a thinking in Vittorio last year, made a very in-depth talk about MySQL optimization that is more, but only if you need. Another very important thing, because probably if you start your Zabbix installation, the first problem that you face is, okay, I have here an alert that said if I using the official template that you should, I have here an alert that said my housekeeping process is at 100% using, and we have every hour this default alert. Okay, this is a good indicator. You should make partitions in your database. Okay, there's plenty of different solutions about the partitions, but take this in consideration. Another small thing that you could touch in your installations is try to improve a little your a web server. First, in our experience, use Nginx. Nginx is, in our tests, at least 10 times faster than Apache. If you are more comfortable with Apache, you don't have a lot of users in your Zabbix, okay, please use whatever you are more comfortable, but at least in our experience, Nginx is way faster than Apache. Small tweaks that improves the performance of the web server. Configure gzip compression, at least in JSON files, because most of the communication between your browser and the web server will be JSON files, because you are using the Zabbix API. Configure your worker code with the amount of workers of Nginx based on your CPU cores. Be careful if you are not using a dedicated machine with Nginx, because if you are all your cores and let Nginx use there, you probably have a problem. But if you have a dedicated machine, use all the cores. And for us, several big differences using opcache in PHP FPM. Why? Because you allow this small plugin to precompile all the PHP from the Zabbix frontend and store it in memory. And the sensation for the user is more snap, more fast.
Yeah.
So, yes,
no, it's okay. It's okay. Again, I mean, just a thing. I mean, Nginx, Apache, whatever. I mean, for us, it's very important as a company to have homogeneous deployments.
Yeah.
I mean that if you know the tricks, we're here at a very high level, okay? But if you know the tricks in one, it's good to apply in some others. And variability usually is an enemy of stability. That's okay. Not prepared sentence.
Another thing that you could start to think when you are installing your first Zabbix or your second Zabbix is, okay, I have to tweak my cache size. Okay, a lot of people at first are tempted to increase it a lot. It's not a big problem per se, but at the end you are wasting memory. Please, the official Zabbix templates that again you should be using is going to give you the exact metrics that the use of your cache size. And please don't increase a lot of these values, because at the end you are wasting memory and it's not a good idea. For me, the most important things, and one of my big fights with most of our clients, is adjust very carefully the data intervals. When you are facing a huge installation, like we have with more than thousands of hundreds of thousands hosts, any small change in a depth interval in a template could give you to the disaster. Okay, please use the biggest data interval that you could use in any item. Start with minutes. Reduce it only for critical items. You could use overrides if you are using low-level discovery in order to find a way to only use small data intervals in the items that it requires. Everything should be active if possible. Active checks, active agent, active proxy are usually better for the performance. And of course, if you are using the latest Zabbix version, use SMP pull requests. You will save a lot of resources. Most of these small tweaks, it will be kind of obsolete in Zabbix 7 because of this new version of polars that we are here. But if you are using all these versions, keep in mind that it will be used. Another thing that you have to think very carefully about is, okay, I have to configure my triggers, and triggers sometimes have to use a lot of history data. You have to be very careful because you have to increase a lot your value cache. You could use a lot of triggers that have a lot of complexity or that not very well formed, that it could end in a very flapping scenario or a huge amount of alerts. Okay, hysteresis is the old way that we in Zabbix we could have this kind of confusion trigger for avoiding the flapping. It means that trying to use, okay, I want to alert if several values over 5, but I will not recover this alert until this value is lower, probably 3 or even lower, to avoid this flapping where the data is over and lower this very number. Okay, another very important thing is if you can, if you are in the latest Zabbix versions, use trend triggers. Trend triggers tends to use less data because trends are usually smaller, and most of the times it's useful to use the trend triggers to avoid have to get a lot of data from the database to calculate, okay, an average. On the average, you do have this average value in trends. The last thing that is, for me, always very, very important is the use of proxies. Okay. Even if you have only one Zabbix server, in our opinion, in our experience, is very useful to have another proxy, even behind this Zabbix server, and let the Zabbix server do the server job and use the proxy only for get all the metrics and keep the server from this work, because in the future it's better to increase. If you have to grow your installation, you have to increase the number of proxies. If you are using one, it's easier than planning this upgrade after the use of proxies.
Yes, it will be. Thank you.
Sí.
Okay, no, there's no more slides here. No, just what I wanted to add is that we're done regarding the tips and so on. Not very sophisticated. And actually, our proposal was not to explain how to do DV partitions or how to implement better whatever. I mean, it is. Zabbix has a lot of documentation available. This is just the headlines in a bold case on what to look first when you are facing initial Zabbix installation. That's it. So wrapping up, and this is again another piece of more about philosophy than about technological capability. It's focus always in low-hanging fruit, the fast improvements that you can make. DB partitions, for most of us that we have been working a lot of years, is like, okay, again, basic thing. But it's surprising how many installations of Zabbix we find in our customers that they have been running full time and they are not using it, and housekeeping is clogging the resources. So it's good to be reminded. If I asked Fernando, I mean, okay, we have to close with three easy things that we can bring home and check if they are done the right way. DB partitions, again, use Zabbix proxies, even if you have just one situation, a simple situation. Just a Zabbix proxy allows you to scale easier. It's easy to add up a couple of proxies more than to migrate to, okay, I don't use proxies, let's use proxies. And pretty please increase those times. Nobody will react to a 5-second metric that goes, peaking and so on. So be reasonable. If you have millions of items, it's dramatic to change. But even with small number of items, okay, it will improve the whole performance. And last, I mean, talk to us. We'll be happy to help. We have been selling for free bottles of water, stall in the corner. They have to go. We don't want to come back with them to Spain, so please drop by, even just to say hi. No need to listen to pitch. No need to buy anything. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.